All right, let's get outside. Or at least think about getting outside today.
Yeah.
We're doing a deep dive into spending time in nature. It's something that, well, it just feels good. Instinctively, right? We kind of know it helps us.
Absolutely. That gut feeling it's definitely powerful.
But here's the interesting part. Our source material for this deep dive, it's maybe not what you'd expect.
Yeah.
It's actually an English learner's how-to guide, specifically about talking about outdoor activities.
An English guide.
Yeah.
Seriously. For exploring nature's benefits. That's
Oh.
different.
Oddly. And I know you might be thinking, why use something so, well, basic? But honestly, that's exactly why it's kind of perfect for this.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How so?
Because this guide, it strips away all the jargon, the complex theories you get in research papers or those wellness manifestos.
Right.
It gets right down to the fundamental, the core truths about why getting outside is just so good for us.
It's like seeing the blueprint without all the complicated annotations, the raw idea.
Exactly that. The absolute essentials.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today isn't, an English lesson.
Right.
It's to use this surprisingly useful guide as our launch pad, our springboard, to really get into the core advantages, physical, mental, social connections too.
And environmental stuff as well. I think the guide touches on that, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Good point. So maybe you're tuning in because you need that little nudge, to actually get out the door.
Or maybe you feel the benefits already, but you want to kind of figure out how to talk about why they feel so important.
Yeah, or maybe you're just curious about the simple power behind it all. So let's unpack what this little guide actually reveals.
Okay, let's do it. And it starts pretty logically, actually, with vocabulary, which, even if you're not learning English, is so important.
It really is. Having the right words, it doesn't just help you tell someone else about it.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you understand your own experience better, right?
Definitely. How do you even grasp that feeling like when the sun hits your face if you don't have a word for it?
Exactly. And this guide gives us those building blocks. It breaks words down into these useful categories. First up, types of activities.
Okay, so what's on the essential list in this guide?
Well, it's got hiking, camping, jogging, cycling, gardening, swimming, and picnicking.
Right, the core stuff. A really solid foundation.
Yeah, and what's interesting is how each one, even though they seem simple, kind of hints at different kinds of benefits, doesn't it?
Totally. Like hiking, that suggests, physical challenge, maybe seeing new places. Camping feels more about disconnecting, really being in nature.
And jogging, cycling, more the cardio side, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then gardening it's quieter, right? Hands-on connection, maybe patience.
Yeah, definitely. And swimming and picnicking often bring in that water element, relaxation, and often the social aspect, too.
So even just the names start pointing towards these different layers of, potential good stuff.
They really do. And the guide also lists nature words, things like forest, mountain, lake, beach, sunlight, fresh air.
Ah, okay. So words to help describe the setting, make it more vivid.
Exactly. Painting the picture. And then, really importantly, it lists emotions and feelings.
Good vibes list.
Pretty much. Relaxed, excited, refreshed, happy, all those positive states.
Which, let's be honest, is often the main driver, isn't it? We go outside to feel better.
We do.
Yeah.
And what's really smart about this guide, even though it's simple, is it immediately pushes you to connect these things. There's a practice tip early on.
Oh, yeah.
It says to pair an activity with a benefit and a feeling.
Ah, okay. Like the example they give. Something like hiking improves my cardiovascular health.
And makes me feel invigorated? Yeah, that one.
It's so simple, but it forces you to be mindful for a second, doesn't it? It makes you pause and think, okay, what did I actually do? What good did it do me? And how did that feel?
It's a direct link to recognizing the value right there.
Yeah. And that process, just putting it into words, is powerful. The guide then kind of builds on this, showing how to express these connections with, again, pretty simple sentences.
Which, again, isn't just about grammar. It's about having the tools to explain the why behind it all.
Right. It goes from basics like, I enjoy swimming. Simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
To connecting the activity and the benefit. Swimming is good exercise.
And then adding the reason, I swim because it's refreshing. See how it builds.
Yeah, step by step. And then combining them. I love cycling because it keeps me fit. Or gardening helps me feel grounded.
Yay.
They're not complicated sentences, but they clearly state why it matters to you.
Exactly. And the guide also mentions using adjectives and adverbs, like fresh air, not just air, or a brisk run.
Or describing majestic mountains makes it richer, more evocative.
It's the difference between saying, I walked by the lake, which is fine, and saying, I took a peaceful stroll by the crystal clear lake. One's just info, the other gives you the feel of it.
Totally. And it points out using connecting words because since, as to explain the links, I go camping because it helps me disconnect.
Or since walking is easy on my joints, I do it every day. It shows that cause and effect relationship.
So this supposedly basic language guide is actually giving us a really solid framework, not just for what we do outside, but why it's valuable on a personal level.
Oh, yeah.
And that feels really key.
It absolutely is. And once you have that kind of language, you can start digging into the specific benefits in more detail, which the guide does next, breaking them down.
Okay, let's get into those. First up, physical health. The guide uses pretty straightforward phrases here, like boosts stamina, maintain healthy weight, strengthens core muscles.
Yeah, simple, direct. It grounds the whole idea in, actual physical results. A long hike. That builds endurance, burns calories. Cycling improves leg strength, good for the heart.
These are tangible things.
Yeah.
And, for anyone looking for fitness, that doesn't feel like a total chore.
Right.
Connecting it with being in nature is such a great way to do it. It's like exercise in disguise sometimes.
It taps into something more intrinsic, doesn't it? You're not just like staring at a wall on a treadmill. You're seeing things, breathing different air.
Which leads us nicely into mental health. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest reasons people talk about needing nature time these days.
For sure. The guide has phrases like declutter mind, alleviates anxiety, fosters tranquility.
Lovely phrases. And the examples really hit home, don't they? Walking in the woods to reduce stress. Gardening, giving you focus, that sense of accomplishment, which is super calming.
Yeah. And it's not just a feeling. The guide kind of hints at the science behind it. Being in nature actually lowers cortisol levels.
Ah, the stress hormone.
Right. Yeah, it's a real physiological response. And it's not just stress either. There's the cognitive side. Nature can help restore our focus, that directed attention we use for work and tasks. It gets tired out.
Right, from all the emails and notifications.
Exactly. Stepping into a natural setting lets that part of your brain rest and, recover.
That sounds like attention restoration theory. So it's not just feeling calm. It's actually repairing our mental energy.
Precisely. And then there's just that grounding effect. When you're just focused on your feet on the path, the sound of the wind, the smell of the pines, it pulls you out of your racing thoughts and into the here and now.
Such a good antidote to anxiety. Okay, what about the social side? The guide mentions connect with others, met wonderful people, deepens bonds.
Yeah, this one might be less obvious than, say, burning calories, but it's huge. Think about it. Shared outdoor experiences, they create really powerful memories.
Like camping trips or group hikes or even just a simple picnic in the park, right?
Totally. They give you a natural setting to connect, often without the pressure of a formal dinner party or something. The activity or the place unites you.
Yeah, you're doing something together.
Exactly. It builds that camaraderie. Playing team sports outside, joining a hiking group. You find your people, people who share that interest. It builds community.
And mutual support, too, maybe. Like helping someone over a tricky bit on a trail or just sharing that moment of awe looking at a view.
Those shared moments, they definitely forge connections.
Okay, and the guide also brings up environmental benefits. This feels increasingly important.
It really does. It mentions things like fosters appreciation, using active transport to reduce impact, becoming aware of conservation efforts.
Right. When you actually spend time in nature, you can't help but develop a relationship with it, can you? It's hard not to care about something you're enjoying firsthand.
Exactly. So cycling to work isn't just about fitness anymore. It becomes a conscious choice, maybe, to lower your emissions.
And hiking through a beautiful forest or along a fragile coastline, it makes the need for conservation feel real, tangible. Not just some abstract idea you read about.
It creates that positive feedback loop. You mentioned it earlier. The more you get from nature, the more you value it, the more likely you are to want to protect it.
Which means it's still there for you and others to benefit from.
Yeah. It shifts your view from nature just being a resource to something you're actually part of and have some responsibility for.
Well, so, okay. We've got the activities, the places, the feelings, the core benefits, body, mind, social environment. What's next in the guide? Adding personality, idioms, and phrasal verbs.
Right. This is where the language starts to sound less like a textbook and more like, how people actually talk. Idioms especially, they're like little bundles of meaning.
Yeah, like blow off steam, meaning, release stress. The guide links it to jogging, go for a jog to blow off steam. Captures that feeling perfectly.
Or just saying in the fresh air, to mean outdoors. I always feel better when I spend time in the fresh air. It just sounds natural.
It does. And recharge your batteries for restoring energy. A weekend camping trip helps you recharge your batteries. These phrases are so common, they're concise, everyone gets them instantly.
And then the phrasal verbs, which are everywhere in English, things like work out for exercise.
Wind down for relax.
And catch up for, spending time talking with someone.
I try to work out by cycling a few times a week. Gardening really helps me wind down after work. It's nice to catch up with friends over a picnic.
Using these just makes your descriptions flow better, feel more authentic somehow, like adding spices, as the guide kind of suggests.
Yeah, exactly. And having this richer language, it lets you communicate the nuance, the specifics of your experience, which makes it feel more real both for you and anyone you're talking to.
Which brings us neatly to the practical side. Actually having conversations about nature. The guide gives some pointers here too.
On how to start, keep going, and end them gracefully.
Again, pretty simple stuff, but useful. Starting off with open-ended questions like, do you enjoy spending time outdoors? Or maybe sharing how you feel first.
Right. And then keeping it going requires that active listening, right? Asking follow-up questions, adding your own related thoughts, like that tennis match analogy, hitting the ball back and forth.
Yeah, showing you're genuinely interested. That's what keeps it alive.
And ending, well, maybe summarizing a point, suggesting doing something together sometime, just polite closing remarks. It shows you were actually listening.
And a really key point the guide makes is about adapting your language. That idea of code switching depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah. Being casual with friends, you might say, hitting the trails, or it's just chill, good for my head.
Totally different from, say, giving a presentation where you'd use more formal language. Engaging in outdoor recreational activities offers significant physiological and psychological benefits.
Right. Or writing an essay using connecting words like firstly, furthermore, maybe citing evidence.
It's all about knowing your audience and tailoring how you speak or write, being a bit of a language chameleon.
Which is a skill for life, not just talking about nature. Okay, finally, the guide touches on some common challenges.
Yeah, things anyone might run into, not just language learners, like forgetting a word.
What does it suggest? Just use a general term, describe it.
Pretty much. Say, that activity where you pretend. Or, the walk in the forest thing. Get the idea across.
Makes sense. And pronunciation mentions specific words like hiking or relaxed. Suggest listening to native speakers. Practice.
And confidence. That's a big one for lots of people.
What's the advice there? Start small. Talk to yourself first.
Yeah, exactly. Practice in a safe space. And the big reminder, mistakes are normal. They're part of learning, part of communicating for everyone. Don't let that fear stop you sharing.
Good advice. And it also brings up cultural nuances. This is interesting.
It is. How different cultures might value or talk about being outdoors differently. For some, it might be more about the physical challenge, the conquest.
Whereas for others, it might be more about peace, restoration, that quiet connection.
Right. And being aware of that helps when you're talking to people from different backgrounds. It's about understanding and respect.
And not making assumptions, I guess. Like, not everyone wants to climb a massive mountain.
Exactly. Maybe ask more open questions. Do you enjoy being near the sea? Rather than, do you love hiking? Respecting different preferences.
It really shows how language and culture are so tangled up together.
Oh.
Understanding that can be like a cultural bridge.
Definitely.
So, wow. We started with this slightly unexpected source, an English Learner's Guide.
Yeah.
And we've ended up with this really comprehensive look at the foundational reasons why getting outdoors is so beneficial. Body, mind, social connections, even the environment.
And crucially, we've seen how having the language, even simple language, gives you the power to actually recognize those benefits in your own life, to articulate them and to share them with other people.
Yeah, it makes your own experiences feel richer somehow.
Yeah.
It helps you connect with others who get it. Find your trad out there in the world.
So for you listening, here's maybe a final thought to chew on as we wrap up, kind of inspired by the guide's practical focus.
Okay.
How can you weave just maybe even small moments of outdoor time into your routine this week? Doesn't have to be epic.
Just a little bit. And what positive effects, big or small, do you think that simple action might have on your life?
Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, after listening today, you might feel a little more equipped, a bit more confident to use some of this language yourself.
To share your own outdoor moments, perhaps. Or maybe invite someone else to share theirs. Kind of spread the outdoor love a little.
Let's consider the power of setting specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals, often known by the acronym SMART, to complement your English learning habits. While habits are the consistent actions you take, SMART goals can provide direction, motivation, and a way to track your progress on a larger scale. They help you see how your daily bricks are building into something substantial. So, what does a SMART goal for English learning look like? Specific. Your goal should be clear and well-defined. Instead of, I want to get better at English. A specific goal might be, I want to improve my conversational English so I can comfortably discuss daily topics. Or, I want to expand my vocabulary to understand articles in my professional field. Measurable. You need a way to track your progress and know when you've achieved your goal. For improve conversational English, a measurable aspect could be able to have a 10-minute conversation with a native speaker on everyday topics with minimal hesitation by the end of 3 months. For expand vocabulary, it could be learn and be able to correctly use 300 new vocabulary words related to my profession within 2 months, tracked using my flashcard app statistics. Achievable. Your goal should be realistic given your current level, resources, and the time you can dedicate. Setting a goal to become completely fluent in 3 months, if you're a beginner, is likely not achievable and will lead to discouragement. However, a goal like complete the first level of my English coursebook in 6 weeks could be very achievable. It's about stretching yourself, but not setting yourself up for failure. Relevant. Your goal should align with your overall why for learning English. If your main reason for learning English is for travel, then a goal focused on understanding academic lectures might be less relevant than a goal focused on learning common travel phrases and understanding directions. Ensure your goals support your bigger aspirations. Time-bound. Your goal needs a deadline. This creates a sense of urgency and helps you stay focused. I will read 1 English graded reader at my level by the end of this month. Or, I will be able to write a simple email in English with correct basic grammar within 4 weeks. Without a time frame, goals can easily get pushed aside. How do SMART goals work with your daily habits? Your daily habits are the actions that will lead you to achieve your SMART goals. For example, if your SMART goal is learn and be able to correctly use 300 new vocabulary words related to my profession within 2 months, your daily habit might be study 5 new professional vocabulary words for 10 minutes each day using my SRS flashcard app. The habit is the small, consistent step. The SMART goal is the larger milestone you're working towards. Setting these kinds of goals can make your daily habits feel more purposeful. You're not just doing your 10 minutes of vocabulary practice randomly. You're doing it because it directly contributes to achieving your clear, measurable goal of learning 300 words. This can significantly boost motivation. When you set a SMART goal, break it down into smaller mini goals or weekly targets. If your goal is to learn 300 words in 2 months, which is about 8 weeks, that means you need to learn roughly 37 to 38 words per week. This makes the larger goal feel less daunting and gives you more frequent opportunities to experience a sense of accomplishment. Regularly review your SMART goals. Are you on track? Do you need to adjust your daily habits? Maybe you're progressing faster than expected, and you can set a more ambitious goal next. Or perhaps the goal was a bit too ambitious, and you need to adjust the time frame or the scope. This regular review process, perhaps weekly or monthly, keeps your goals alive and relevant to your current progress. Celebrate when you achieve a SMART goal. This is a significant accomplishment and deserves recognition. It reinforces your efforts and motivates you for the next goal. This is different from celebrating the completion of a daily habit. It's about acknowledging that you've reached a meaningful checkpoint on your longer journey. Now, let's think about how to handle setbacks when working towards these goals. Despite your best efforts and consistent habits, there will be times when you don't meet a specific target or when progress feels slower than you'd like. This is normal. The key is not to see these as failures, but as learning opportunities. If you miss a weekly target, for example, don't beat yourself up. Instead, analyze why. Did you overestimate how much you could do? Were your daily habits not consistent enough? Did unexpected life events interfere? Understanding the why helps you make adjustments. Maybe you need to break the goal down into even smaller steps, or adjust your daily habit time, or find a different learning resource that works better for you. The flexibility to adjust your goals and your approach is crucial. Language learning is not a perfectly predictable process. Sometimes you'll make rapid progress. Other times, it will feel slower. Your goals should be guiding stars, not rigid chains. Consider sharing your SMART goals with an accountability partner or a supportive friend. Just like with habits, sharing your goals can make you more likely to stick to them. Your partner can help you celebrate successes and offer encouragement during challenging times. Another powerful technique is visualization. Regularly visualize yourself successfully achieving your SMART goal. Imagine how it will feel. If your goal is to have a confident conversation, visualize yourself doing it, smiling, understanding, and being understood. This mental rehearsal can build confidence and strengthen your motivation to stick with the habits that will get you there. It's also useful to have a mix of short-term and long-term SMART goals. Short-term goals, e.g., for the next few weeks or a month, provide quick wins and keep you motivated. Long-term goals, e.g., for 6 months or a year, provide the bigger picture and overall direction. Your short-term goals should be stepping stones towards your long-term goals. For example, a long-term goal might be, within 1 year, I want to be able to watch an English language movie without subtitles and understand 80% of the dialogue. To achieve this, you might set shorter-term SMART goals like month 1 to 3. Improve my listening comprehension by completing 3 beginner-level English podcast series and learning 200 common spoken English phrases. Month 4 to 6, be able to watch 10-minute English YouTube videos on familiar topics and understand the main content without subtitles, and so on. Each short-term goal achieved brings you closer to your ultimate objective. By integrating SMART goals with your daily habit system, you create a powerful synergy. Your habits provide the consistent engine of progress, while your goals provide the map and the milestones, ensuring your engine is taking you where you want to go. This structured yet flexible approach can make the long journey of English learning more manageable, more motivating, and ultimately more successful. It helps you to be an active, intentional learner, steering your own path towards English proficiency. Let's delve into the concept of deliberate practice and how it can elevate your English learning habits from simple repetition to truly effective skill building. Deliberate practice is not just about putting in hours. It's about practicing in a specific, structured way that is designed to improve performance. It involves focused attention, identifying weaknesses, and working systematically to address them. This is different from mindlessly going through motions. Think of a musician practicing scales. They don't just play them over and over. They listen carefully, identify notes that are out of tune or rhythms that are incorrect, and then they focus on correcting those specific errors. This is deliberate practice. We can apply the same principles to learning English. So how does deliberate practice look in the context of your English habits? First, it requires a clear focus on a specific skill or area you want to improve. Instead of a general habit like practice English, a deliberate practice habit would be more like improve my pronunciation of the R and L sounds, or master the use of past simple versus present perfect tenses in spoken sentences. This narrow focus allows for more targeted effort. Second, deliberate practice involves pushing yourself just beyond your current comfort zone. This is that Goldilocks zone again, challenging but achievable. If you only practice things you already do well, you won't improve much. You need to tackle things that are slightly difficult for you. For example, if you're comfortable with basic sentence structures, you might deliberately practice forming more complex sentences with subordinate clauses. Third, and crucially, deliberate. Practice involves immediate and informative feedback. You need to know if you're doing it right or wrong, and why. This feedback can come from various sources. If you're working with a tutor or a teacher, they can provide direct feedback. If you're using a good language learning app, it might offer corrections. You can also learn to self-monitor. For instance, if you're practicing pronunciation, record yourself and compare it to a native speaker's pronunciation. If you're writing, use a grammar checker tool